Oh, but the vibes in Patriots Nation, much like the team these days, absolutely rolling. And if there were one former New England Patriot, one three-time Super Bowl champion, one Patriots Hall of Famer, and one handsome son of a gun that we needed to have on the podcast to tell you just how good it is, just what we can expect, and just exactly how far this team can go, it would be the mustache man himself, who is leading a takeover in Tampa you are not going to want to miss. Your old pal Fitzy, alongside the living legend that is Matt Light of the Matt Light Foundation, on a fresh, brand new 6 Rings and Football Things. How about some theme music? Here we go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. It's all about winning, all right? Win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win!
Celebrating the heroes of Foxborough's past.
And with a good block. Look at Vrabel. Touchdown all the way. Watch the block of number 73, John Hanna.
The champions of the dynastic era.
Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
The Patriots of tomorrow.
We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
And the fans whose faith never wavers. This is 6 Rings and Football Things.
Yeehaw! Here it is, folks. It's been a while, a minute, maybe even a couple minutes longer since we've had the living legend on the pod. You know him, you love him, you follow him, you love to hug him, you see him everywhere. He just does too many damn good things. He was a leader of men on the field, and now he spends his spare time not only being a great family man, husband, and football analyst, but also molding the lives of young men who could use a little extra assistance with the Matt Light Foundation. MattLight72.com for the mustache man himself, a.k.a. the swinging junk right there. Here he is, folks. Matt Light joins the podcast after a little break. We hadn't talked to you in a while there, Matty. First of all, just tell the people, how's it going, pal?
Buddy, I am good. This is probably my favorite time of the year, right? I mean, okay. Cold weather's moving in, and for a guy who has excessive amounts of insulation, I like to be able to put a sweatshirt on and not be soaked, right? So the cold air had a nice frost this morning. The pond had a lot of fog lifting off of it as the sun came up, and it's also hunting season. And for all of us that enjoy spending time in the woods, there's no better time than right now, buddy. So loving it. And by the way, our boys are doing pretty good.
Yeah, the Patriots doing really well. Pairs nicely with that cider donut in the morning, frost on the windshield. Just like it feels right now, Matt, like you're living in an LL Bean catalog shoot. You know what I mean? Like it is just, it is the quintessence of New England at its absolute finest. And it does help too that the Patriots, you know, are back. Like on a scale of they're here to baby, we are so back. Where would you say they are right now?
Ooh, good question. You know, as weird as it may sound, I think it's still a little too early to tell, right? Kind of a feel. I mean, we're going into what, week 8 now? I don't know. I always lose track, but you know, they've got so we are now 6-2. So I guess we're going into week 9, right?
Going into week 9, yeah.
So with that said, there's a lot of football yet to be played. And, you know, I think one of the things that everybody realizes today, probably more so than ever before, is that the injuries continue to be the biggest story in the National Football League, right? So let's kind of put a pause on what these guys have done in terms of offensive, defensive, special teams. There's a lot we can talk about in terms of how great those areas have become, right? Because it didn't start out perfect in week 1 by any stretch. They've continued to improve and build week to week. I like where everything's going. And I think a lot of it points back to, you know, what you hear Coach Vrabel say on a regular basis. We're removing the entitlement, right? Like that clip said a minute ago. We're going to focus on, you know, becoming better week to week. We're going to put in the work. We're going to earn the right. That's why those guys are getting better. And that's why, you know, they're sitting at 6-2. But the injuries will always be a major part of it. And here's my hope is that they can stay as physical as possible during the week leading up to each game, right? Because they don't get to practice like we used to practice. They don't get to hit as much as we used to hit. But I hope that they can keep themselves in really good football condition and avoid as many of these injuries that we see plaguing teams today. And if they can do that, you're going to continue to see them get better and better and better. And I hope by the time we get to that time after Thanksgiving, which we know is like the biggest time for an organization, right? What you do after Thanksgiving leading up to hopefully the playoffs, will really define the type of team that you have. So give it another, 5-6 weeks, and let's see what these guys look like then. Hopefully they're healthy.
Of course, you are listening to the dulcet baritones of Matt Light, three-time Super Bowl champion and Patriots Hall of Famer, here on Six Rings and Football Things. And before we get, should we say, footballs deep in exactly how well this team is doing, what you think of the job your former teammate and your buddy is doing at head coach, just how consumed you are by Drake Mania, and what the ceiling for this team could really be. Let's let the good people know what's going on with the Light Foundation these days and what your takeover in Tampa is going to be supporting. For anyone curious as to exactly what the takeover in Tampa is, Matt and Light Foundation are running this incredible sweepstakes where two different couples, two different pairs, buddies, whoever, could win a trip to go hang out with you and more down in Tampa for the big game in 2 weeks at Pirate Ship in the End Zone Stadium. Tell us about it, Matt.
That's right. Yeah, we put together a package, and it includes your airfare. It includes dinner the night before with my wife and I. We're actually really looking forward to being down there as well. And then, of course, tickets to the game, a tailgate pregame. So Drake Maye signed jersey. Talk about Drake Mania. It's going to be a great game, too, because you've got two really exciting quarterbacks and two really good teams, and another chance for the Pats to go on the road. So it's one of these games, I think, if you're a New England Patriot fan, you want to be in Tampa for a million reasons, but mainly to sit there and watch this matchup and again, continue the progression that we're seeing, hopefully, with really good football. But these things do a lot for us, Fitzy. I mean, the foundation, we do a lot of work with kids from all over the country. And when people take a chance and they say, you know what, I'm going to spend $10 or $25, and if I win, awesome. If I don't, I'm at least contributing. And these things have raised hundreds of thousands, and that's really amazing because so many people play a role in helping us provide these opportunities, for the kids that we serve, which is so great. But my favorite part, and you'll love this, and I should probably rope you in on one of these sometime. I love to call the winners because no one's really expecting it, right? So
no,
when I call
I just going to say real quick, Matt, I am such a, I'm not going to say glory hound, but I fall so hard for whenever people have like the best moment in their lives. Like every Saturday, whenever McAfee and Herb Street line up with some college kid who has to make a 33-yard field goal, and if they hit it, they win $250,000, and they lose their shit. You're like, that's literally the best moment in this person's life to date. I can't get enough of that because the world is, stop me if you've heard this, it's a difficult world. We're all having a hard times, a lot of crap going on right now. So like to hear that phone call and have somebody like, wait, get the F out of here. Matt Light, wait, you're telling me I just won because I donated $25 at mattlight72.com, or if you guys want, I tweeted it out earlier. I'll tweet it out again. It's also in the podcast description. There's a direct hyperlink to go to the Takeover in Tampa sweepstakes. You can get in for as little as $10. You can donate $1,500. You get a certain number of entries per donation, and two different people are going to win this incredible thing, and you're going to call them, shock the blank out of them, and literally give them one of the best moments of their life in a weekend that should be off the charts.
And I love that you love that, because it's also in my DNA to watch people live a moment. You know what gets me a lot, right? Two things. You watch any of those programs like The Voice or any of those, and you see somebody go up on stage and they perform this unbelievable rendition of whatever it may be, or they perform a song that they wrote and they realize that they're actually good enough and they get the praise of the audience. Like when you see people go through that moment, I mean, I could watch that all day. My kids and I love watching those moments. And then the other thing, like the ultimate home makeover, when somebody just is blessed by someone else's
and they
generosity.
pull the curtain and you see the house, and it's like, I've been living in despair, and thanks to your charitability, and of course, obviously a sizable donation, probably from Home Depot or something else. Now all of a sudden, people just like they have a chance, they have a life, they have something that they have always wanted.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love those moments. So I'm not going to say that my call elicits that same type of response, but
No, it's all right.
you know what I love?
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with being a joy. That's what it is, Matt. Nothing wrong with being a joy junkie. Whether you're a goofball
Yeah.
like me, or a turkey hunting hard ass like you. Like we each have our soft spots, and like just getting a chance to make a day or make a moment for somebody like that, all while contributing to your foundation, which does incredible work, trying to get young men on a proper path to success, as opposed to, off of screens and into the field and into the wild the way they should be. It's the freaking best.
Well, I love to mess with them a little bit too, and I'll get on the phone and be like, "Yeah, is this John? Hey, John, this is Sergeant Dick Schwartz from the Barrington Police Department. We're just calling to see if you would mind giving a donation to the blah blah blah." And they're like, and right before they hang up, I'm like, "No. I just wanted to let you know, this is Matt Light. You won." They're like, "Oh man, I was about ready to hang up on you."
I was about ready to call the cops or have this call traced, and now you're telling me I'm going to be having dinner with you and Susie in Tampa? Come on, let's go. So once again, it's airfare down to and from Tampa, tickets to the game in a lovely luxury suite with Mr. Light and Company, dinner on Saturday night with Matt at a restaurant Gronk, I believe, is a part owner of in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
And a tailgate.
The whole kit and caboodle, right? You got your hotel, everything, and 2 winners we're going to pull, and they get to bring a friend each, right? So 4 people will join us. It's going to be a phenomenal game. It's just going to be a great way to celebrate the Pats down there. And look, again, like I said, this thing raises so much for the foundation. So we're just thankful, man. We appreciate, people just hopping on takeoverintampa.com if you want to make it easy, or go to the link that you provided, and hopefully I'll be making a phone call to you here. I think we're going to be pulling that the Thursday before the game.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm just looking on the website right now. Make a difference today by donating to the Light Foundation and enter for a chance to win tickets to see New England take over Tampa Sunday, November 9th in Tampa, Florida. The drawing is Thursday, November 6th at 5 p.m. Eastern. And that's, 20, you throw $20 in, you're like, oh, well, I made a nice little $20-30. I made a nice little donation to the Light Foundation. That could turn into this would be amazing. What's the name of the restaurant again? I have some Tampa locals that are in the live chat, Matt, as we broadcast across YouTube and Facebook.
Roca's one of the hottest restaurants down there in Tampa. I mean, there's a lot of great places in Tampa, and I got to tell you, man, Tampa's come so far. When I was a kid, we used to go down there. My grandmother had a place in Clearwater,
I love it there,
just north of Clearwater.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Tampa now, my goodness, man. I mean, it is a different Tampa today.
I just want to share this. A good buddy, Jay Lassard, he actually was the Patriots flew him and a friend up yesterday from the Tampa area to be at yesterday's game against the Browns. He runs the Tampa Bay Patriots fan club and does a great job representing Pats Nation in the Clearwater, Tampa area. And they have hundreds and hundreds. You'll probably see them either Saturday night or Sunday. There'll be hundreds of them en masse together, and I'm hoping to be able to fly down and join as well. He said the Tom Brady and Gronk effect, which people gloss over and underestimate. I still believe to this date, Matt, that if a study was commissioned to figure out exactly how much money Tom Brady made Massachusetts, Foxborough, and New England at large over those 19 years, it'd be billions. I mean, forget about the fact that he left and was unhappy that Bill and Robert wouldn't give him a 2-year, $50 million deal. It should have been one of those oversized novelty checks Publishers Clearinghouse brings you. They should have showed up at his door and been like, hello, Tom, Giselle, fill in the blanks, whatever you want, buddy. That's all yours. You're my 5th son. Like, they should have paid him $200 million a season for Tom Brady. Wouldn't have been too much, because Jay told me the second he signed in Tampa, his girlfriend at the time was in public education, and she said nobody wore All-Star jerseys or Joe Juravicius or Levante David or anything like any previous Tampa legend, whatever, Rondé Barber, right? The second they signed the 12, I call it the 12 and 87ification of the Tampa area. Every kid in school had a Gronk or a Brady jersey or both, because they couldn't believe that two of the greatest of all time were in the area. And that's what they do. That, and now you're the next guy to take over Tampa that used to play at Gillette.
And and boy, we're gonna have fun doing it. But it's interesting you bring that point up, and the impact that those two guys have had on cities, the community at large. And I'll tell you this much: I know a lot of people down there in the Tampa area, and you're right, it was immediate. The second they were announced as part of that organization, the entire region blew up. You couldn't get tickets to the game. Everything was being sold out. They embraced them like crazy. But here's the thing that I thought was interesting. I'm talking to some people who do deals with the stadium, and they're like, hey, look, whatever we ask for, the organization will do. They were the most accommodating, ownership and whatever, like suite holders could go down and have access. They get stuff signed and bring it up. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, they're allowing you to do all of that? Like, how's that possible, right?
Wait, you're Tom. Wait, Tom, are you allowed to? You're allowed to smile? Like, you and Gronk can do web videos together and play footsies? Like, you're allowed? Like, you're gonna have a Super Bowl parade where you're not supposed to suppress your emotions, but actually celebrate them so much so that you get absolutely shit house drinking tequila and almost sink the Lombardi in Tampa Bay. I mean, on years later, I'm just so happy that they had reached their emotional finality in New England, and there was still a little football joy, a little football juice left to be squeezed from the fruit. And they went down and they found it. And, for years when my oldest son was like, Dad, can I get a Tampa Bay jersey? I was like, you can get one of those and sleep in the yard, kid. Now, as time has gone by, I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, because he's the greatest ever. Celebrate each and every moment from that career. You, however, sir, career Patriot, box to wire, cradle to grave. I still think you were playing your best football in 2011. You had a hell of a Super Bowl, and you should have left with 4 rings. You played some damn good ball in Super Bowl 46, but you left on top. You avoided a lot of the aches and pains that guys that continue to play well past their prime into those, the Larry Holmes, Cassius Clay years where they probably shouldn't have been in the ring, but rather should have been running a foundation or taking care of themselves. And now you're doing awesome work, but you still keep pace with the team. I wanted to ask you, as far as Mike Vrabel goes, obviously you know him about as well as anyone else in media that was on the team and beyond. How surprised are you by the immediate success he's had? And were you a little taken aback at how much he did to tweak the team, not just to improve it, but also to install a new culture? Like, this isn't like a continuation of what Bill did. The logo looks the same, but this is definitely Mike Vrabel's Patriots.
Yeah, I think if you go back and you listen to what was said in the media at different times by different people, right? Mm-hmm. You'd listen to some of the coaches that he was with in Tennessee, or guys that he coached with at the college level when he was there for a little bit, right? Or you listen to the players, right? I mean, if you go back when he was announced, listen to some of the guys that played for him and the way that they spoke about him, right? It wasn't just to get a job. It wasn't just to blow smoke or to say the right thing. These guys understood what it was like to have a head coach who'd be in the trenches with them. If there was a fight, the odds that Vrabel, even though he doesn't have pads or anything else, he's probably going to put himself in that skirmish at some point, because, football is who he is, man. It really defines a lot of, why he gets up every day, man. He loves to compete. He's got endless amounts of energy. It just, to the point where it kind of pissed me off as a teammate. We're out there killing ourselves at practice, and this joker walks in after we're all taking our stuff off and hitting the shower. He's going and hitting the treadmill for 15, 20 minutes. It's like, come on. This guy's not human. So, it doesn't surprise me that he's been able to change the culture as quickly as he has. I mean, it's part of what defines being in a Vrabel system, right? We're going to do it this way. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to earn the right to be there. We're going to work really hard during the week. We're going to put ourselves in the best possible position to go out there and play at a high level. And, look, it hasn't been perfect in any category, but they've gotten better week to week. And I've said that from day one. What do I want to see out of this team in Vrabel's first year? I just want to see a team that gets better, right? I want to see a team that, comes out there, learns, from some of the mistakes. I'll give you a perfect kind of snapshot of what that looks like. Will Campbell has been a big dude and has been highly touted since he was in high school, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, people bring him in to fill a void because they know he's good. And when you're that guy who's been told how great you are and you've had these unbelievable opportunities and you get drafted, 4th overall, whatever, the expectations are really high, and things can get difficult at times. And, he starts off the season and it wasn't perfect, but he's playing really well. He's competitive. He's getting better week to week. And then you have what happened this past weekend.
Myles Garrett happens. Yeah.
He's going up against the best that the league, has to offer. Right. And it wasn't perfect, but he was still very competitive. He never broke, and that's going to really serve him well. And those are the kind of things that Mike Vrabel, instills, right? Hey, we get knocked down, we get back up. We keep fighting to the very end. We play for 60 minutes. We finish the games. And that's not an easy thing to instill in an organization. And it's not an easy thing for a young player to overcome, when you have some mistakes and things happen. But, they're doing it in New England.
All right. But before I got a thought on Will Campbell, but I did want to actually ask you this. So the same way Myles Garrett took Will Campbell to school on Sunday against the Browns, even though the Pats won by 19, he had a career day, 5 sacks, and just dominated that rookie left side of the line with Jared Wilson and Will Campbell. But yet still Drake Maye persevered. And it's a good learning day for Will Campbell, and Myles Garrett was highly complimentary of him in the postgame. Who was your Myles Garrett during your playing days?
Oh, let me count the ways that
was it just Jason Taylor?
Look, I mean, I think you look at John Abraham, Aaron Schobel, Jason Taylor, of course. I had those 3 guys in our own division, right? Just our division.
Yeah.
So it was a dogfight each and every week. You had the freak, Javon Curse, at times in my career when he was playing at a very high level. But Dwight Freeney, and I've said this from day one, I said this when I was playing against him.
That damn
Dwight
spin
Freeney
move.
is a guy that, my goodness, man, put the nation on him. And he's still going to get really close or maybe make the play. He's so skilled. And you saw some of that. Yeah, it actually brought back a lot of terrible memories for me. Myles Garrett, plays with such strength and he has so many different, tools in the toolbox, right? And
he looks like you've seen him shirtless, right? Not to make it that kind of podcast, but like he looks like an African-American version of the David, like Michelangelo carved him out of marble. And he can just play football. Like, it's unbelievable. The guy, he's not real. And
right.
the fact that he's like a dude on top of it all just makes it, I'm glad Will Campbell went through what he did yesterday, because it'll only make him stronger. But please continue.
Well, listen, and not only that, right? And by the way, you're talking 2 to 3 plays, right? But again, it only takes 2 to 3 plays for a guy like that to come out of that as like a superhero, which he was. I mean, he made many good plays, but against Will, right, there were 2 or 3 times that he got beat, and in a lot of cases there was tight end presence. And by the way, I know how that works too. You have a tight end there, you think, okay, I got a little help. Sometimes the help can hurt you. There were times where I would tell Josh or I would tell Billy O, I'd say, hey, look, just do whatever you want with him. Get him out of my way. Let me go one-on-one with this guy, because you're looking at the set and you're saying, okay, I got help on my outside so I can short set him, but then you stop your feet because there's nothing to really do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy's already engaged with the tight end, And so now you settle your feet, and then you got to start them back up again when your tight end gets absolutely housed, right? Like, and thrown out of the way. And now you got to restart your set. And that can actually be worse than just get the tight end away from me. Let me pass set this dude one-on-one and keep my feet moving and do what I got to do. So Will probably will learn those kind of lessons, and he'll probably have the ability to say, hey, you know what? Based on what happened, against Miles, just let the tight end do whatever he wants. Let me try to set this dude one-on-one. Or he may say, you know what I really liked was the chip help from the back out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
That actually I liked. You see what I'm saying? So, and by the way, not only those two, but a guy like Drake Maye will learn a lot from that experience too, right? I mean, he got sacked 5 times, and he got pressured and hurried other times. All those things will serve them well down the road. As much as you don't like watching them on film, they will serve you well.
Yeah, that's why we were saying on the post-game show yesterday, Matt, that yesterday was actually kind of an ideal win because you win comfortably. Drake continues his deep ball dominance. A couple of people get a taste of the 6-point house, but they make just enough mistakes that on Monday, like right now as we're recording this, Vrabel is in there showing the mistakes, doing course correction, coaching up and teaching them exactly how they can improve. So in a lot of ways, an idealish win. Two more quick questions for you and we'll wrap it. How, like, as far as Drake Maye has gone, Josh so well. The kid comes from a great family, a bunch of older brothers who, beat him down, held his head underneath the sofa as they sat on him watching TV, chippy in the driveway, shooting hoops, everything. So he's got great humility, comes from great stock. He's a big kid, hyper athletic. But how much do you think, as Drake Mania has, run wild all over New England, how much do you think of an impact Josh has had on his finesse, his style, his precision, and his overall growth?
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases they should go hand in hand, and they do go hand in hand, right? Like, reverse it a little bit, right? Look at the impact that a good quarterback has on a coordinator, right? Forget about what Josh may do for a guy like Drake Maye. Drake Maye is doing a lot for a guy like Josh, just like Tom Brady did a lot for Josh when they were together. And so it should be symbiotic, that you should be able to develop enough trust because you busted your ass and worked hard and talked things through, and actually probably had many moments, and as these two continue to build this relationship, there's going to be times where, Drake or Josh is going to be like, no, I don't want to see that. Like, we're not doing that. Right. And then there's going to be but I actually kind of want to do that. Right. And that's a good thing, man. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Josh and Tommy, were at each other's throats, but there were definitely times where there was a difference of opinion.
And that's okay. Sitting or, you don't want to work your entire life with people that think the exact same way as you. How do you learn from that?
Exactly. And it's a good thing. And I think that Josh, I think what he does really well is that he listens to his players, but Josh has enough confidence to be like, hey, no. This is how we need to do this. And here's where I want you to be thinking. This is the why behind it. It's not just do it my way. There's a great education. He's really good at explaining what it is that he wants to do and getting those guys all on the same page. That gives a guy like Drake Maye confidence. That gives a guy like Drake Maye the ability to then go to his wide receivers and his running backs and be like, hey, look, I know you want this, and I would like to get to some of that too, but here's why we're doing this. Because if it came from Josh, it wouldn't mean as much as it comes from a guy like Drake, right? So all of those things that they're doing now and the hard work that they're putting in, it pays big dividends in ways that a lot of people can't really comprehend unless you're in that facility. But what I can tell you is I've always appreciated the creativity. I mean, I remember going to Josh and saying, hey, look, I need a 3-step drop early in the game, right? Just give me a 3-step in the first series, and hopefully we'll get to it. It may be like the 5th or 6th play call, right? But give me that because I want to cut this guy and give him something to think about early in the game, right? And he would listen to that. And by the way, I used to love buttering them up. Give me an opportunity to cut somebody. Love it.
That's fantastic, and that's great to you know. I think he challenges his players as well, but he also I think the best thing that could have happened for him in a lot of ways was taking that time off to travel, assimilate a lot of other playbooks, play calls, and things. He looks like he's in terrific shape. He's got his mind right, and I think he's on an absolute heater as far as developing this offense, installing confidence, and taking the talents of Drake Maye to whatever is beyond that next level. I mean, each and every Sunday, Matt, it's like, oh, here come 5 more Drake Maye stats that make him unique, anomalous, and Hall of Fame worthy, and the kid's freaking not even old enough to rent a car. So, yeah, obviously Will Campbell, perfect fit for Mike Vrabel. They freaking put on pads and tackled each other in the Bayou back in April. His hardoism is just absolutely on point. But at the same time, like, he's sensitive enough to, like, let Ramondre fumble and bring him in, give him a hug, and tell him that he's going to need him next week. And I've been pleasantly surprised by that. So he's evolving. Josh is evolving. Everyone's evolving for the positive. And I'm with you. All I wanted to see out of this team this year was, do you have the right quarterback? Do you have the right coaches? Do you have the right players to turn the ship around in the canal and set out to open waters for success? And I think we do. So last question, Matt Light, what do you think the ceiling is for this Patriots team in this wide open NFL 2025?
Well, since I've been a guy who loves the physical side of it, right? I played football for one reason, man. I didn't go to jail when I hit people, and I know that may sound a little abrasive.
I like that one, actually. No, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I believe that football should be and always had been a violent sport, and there's nothing wrong with violence as long as it's controlled, i.e., played within the rules of the game. Now, they fundamentally changed the rules of the game, right?
Yeah.
And for all of us that know what real football was, and I played in it, what we see today has limited so much of the violence that, golly, I get angry thinking about it. But that said, I still believe that the guys that are willing to carry their own lunch pail into work every day, and again, earn it, man. Just go in there and earn it because you're willing to play more physical, nastier, with more tempo, and you're willing to execute to the very end, even if it's a game that you can't possibly win, right? I don't want to see that. Fitzy, I don't want to see that in this season. But if it were to happen where they find themselves in a position because of a million things, right? Bad week of prep. You know, we have some guys that are sick that nobody really knows about because that happens quite a bit in the National Football League, especially later in the year when you got the flu rolling through a locker room, but nobody's saying anything. For whatever reason, if we find where these guys are down and there's no way they can win it, watch how they respond. Watch them fight and continue to play at a really high level. That's what I want to keep seeing. And I think those kind of teams will definitely have the ability to go into the postseason. And if they do make it in, they may run the table because that mentality is great. So what's the ceiling? Get us to the playoffs, and I'll tell you, probably the Super Bowl, right? I mean, because if they get there, Fitzy, if they get there, it's because they've continued. Look, we're 6-2 now. Things.
A lot of winnable games on that schedule still, Matt Light. A lot of winnable games.
There's a lot of winnable games, but right, anything. All I'm saying is if they make it into the playoffs, which is one hell of a feat, you know, for this organization, given what we've been through.
It's like the new command, like the Commanders did it last year, and now the Patriots are kind of doing it this year and doing it better, I believe.
And if they get there with a whole bunch of guys who have continued to improve, embraced each other and the culture with a coach like Vrabel and all the rest of that coaching staff too, I'd say the sky's the limit, man. You know, tough-nosed players. You know, I can tell you this much: if you're not used to getting hit in the mouth, or let's put it in another way, if you're the Indianapolis Colts and you've been in a nice cushy stadium and you come to Foxborough in January, things get tough. Right?
That's right. They do.
They do. And it's the same thing. If you're just a tough-nosed organization and you enjoy hitting people in the mouth and you actually celebrate it, and you got a coach that rewards it by putting those kind of guys on the field, sky's the limit when it comes to the playoffs.
You know, let's hope come January, meaningful football returns to Foxborough, and the conditions are much like the fans and the feelings of the opponents, miserable, because that's just how we love it. You've been so generous with your time today, Matt. Always love talking football, talking the Light Foundation and all the great things you do. Visit mattlight72.com to learn more about the Light Foundation and the incredible work they do for young men in America. Takeoverintampa.com. That's takeoverintampa.com to jump in and make a donation, and you could win a bunch of entries. And like we said, on November 6th at 5 p.m. Eastern, Matt and Susie Light will pull not one, but two big winners, and then they'll make that amazing phone call for the joy junkies out there that love those incredible moments. It should be a great time. I think that's going to be a hell of a game. Two of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Lots of parties down there in Tampa that weekend. Matt, I hope to see you down there, my man. Thank you so much. And whatever we can do on our behalf to continue promoting the awesome work you do, and also just your football-loving recklessness, by all means, let me know.
Appreciate you, brother. Good to be with you.
All right, and there's your latest 6 Rings in Football Things. We'll be back later on this week with a preview of Patriots, Falcons, and everything else you, the greatest fans in all the football lands, need to know. Until then, take care. God bless. Here's Matt Light's big old dog and his